I think you had a little fun this morning being introduced to a new friend of ours. Yeah, got really good photos. We got a sneak peek of that from over here. We missed it, but how fun that Edna Mode is now introduced and part of Pixar Pier. This morning we are going to be doing a tour of Blue Sky Cellar with our Imagineers and team from Pixar Animation, the theme park team. And they're going to be telling you a lot more about what's coming to Pixar Pier. Of course, right now Pixar Fest is still continuing and goes all the way through September 3rd, and Pixar Pier opens during that time. So I'm going to have the wonderful team introduce themselves and tell them, they'll tell you a little bit about what they do, and then we'll start with the storyline of Pixar Pier.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Shaver-Moskowitz. I'm the Executive Regional Producer for Walt Disney Imagineering Pacific, overseeing the Disneyland Resort and Aulani Resort in Hawaii, and I'm also the producer for Pixar Pier.
Hi, I'm Tracy Nose. I'm the creative director for the Incredicoaster. Do all of the cool design work and make things pretty.
Hi, I'm Roger Gould from Pixar Animation Studios, the creative director of our theme parks group, and we collaborate with Walt Disney Imagineering anywhere around the world where the Pixar characters and stories appear.
I'm Tasha Sonart. I also work with Roger in the theme parks group at Pixar. And I'm helping out with a lot of the different things in Pixar Pier.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hollis, and I'm a show director with Disneyland Creative Entertainment here at the Disneyland Resort.
Great, take it away.
So, welcome to Pixar Pier. Like all of our ideas, it starts with the what if. What if we had a place where all of our Pixar characters could live and have a home in one area. Looking at the pier, we had this great anchor of Toy Story Midway Mania, one of our key attractions here at Disney California Adventure, and we had a wonderful coaster that didn't have any theme or story, and so we started talking about what are some story explorations we could do there. The Incredibles 2 was coming out, and so we started talking about how awesome would this be to have an Incredibles ride, one of the first Incredibles rides, the first Incredibles ride we've ever done here in Disney California Adventure.
And Incredibles, since the very first film of Pixar, we've been waiting and hoping to bring them to life in the park because they're such a perfect park story, right? They're a family that is constantly swinging between the mundane of, which exit should we take to fight the superhero and the fantastic of actually doing these battles and using their extraordinary powers, which is actually the guest experience, right? You're in that line, it could be a little mundane, and you go on these extraordinary experiences on our attractions. So we're really thrilled we're going to bring them to life, and it inspired to say, well, that's a really cool idea for the coaster. How can we really re-theme and rethink what the pier is? And we came up with this notion of these neighborhoods. We said our guests want to go into these stories, and that's what we want to really create. And so we've created these 4 neighborhoods. Incredibles Park, obviously anchored by the Incredicoaster. We had Toy Story Mania, so that obviously became the centerpiece of the Toy Story Boardwalk, and we can talk a little bit about our carousel that we're adding into that experience. And then we have our Pixar Promenade, which really honors the kind of the heart of the pier, which is this classic turn-of-the-century boardwalk experience. You want to talk a little bit about kind of our inspiration for that?
Yeah, when we started looking at the pier, we knew that this is a classic California pier and always will be. And so we wanted to make sure that as we went through, we even plussed up some of the storytelling of the classic California pier brought to life by Pixar. So we started up at Pixar with a brainstorm, started from there and took a trip down the California seaboard to the amusement piers of California. And really inspired a lot by Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. There's a lot of great architecture and these great jewel tone colors of the pier. It's not all just whitewashed wood. It's some really bright poppy colors, which plays really nicely with our Pixar story and color story there as well. So you'll see that in the Pixar entry area, in these onion domes and things. These are some real California architectural inspiration points.
And so the Pixar Promenade is a place we're celebrating all the different stories, just as you've seen in Pixar Fest. We've just been so thrilled to see the guests embracing and excited to get to meet and experience all these different stories from our studio. So this is going to be that permanent home for all of them. And then coming next year, we're going to expand with our 4th neighborhood, which will be the Inside Out headquarters. And we're really thrilled to create the first ever Inside Out park attraction. So it's really going to be fun.
Really exciting.
And that one is coming at a later date. That one, we just haven't announced that one quite yet.
So I don't know if we should slide on down to our entry.
You're welcome to Pixar Pier. Think of this as kind of our main street. This is your welcome to the pier. So you're welcomed by this beautiful marquee with the Pixar lamp. Up on top, we've already announced he'll be arriving at a later date, but he'll have some really fun animation down towards the guests as they enter and leave the pier area. And then right beyond the marquee, we've got Nick's Knacks. Hopefully you've already experienced Nick's Knacks, a wonderful store. All Pixar merchandise, really, really great merchandise.
And really
for
celebrating
the
the artist,
space.
because when we thought about, Pixar isn't a story, right? So when we started talking about creating a Pixar Pier, we said, well, we want to celebrate the stories of the studio, but we also wanted to celebrate the artists and stories that happen within the studio. So Nick's Knacks really celebrates the art of, and if you go in there, there is an artist desk, a live artist working. We celebrate it with concept and storyboard art from the films, and we've seen the guests really, really enjoying that.
And then right across from Nick's Snacks will be Lamplight Lounge. Tasha, you want to tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we've been working on this this lounge, and it's a stylish, fun spot where the whole family can come and all eat some awesome food and get some good drinks. And it's also a place where the storytelling we're doing there is that it's an old warehouse space that's been renovated, and the Pixar regulars have come there and left lots of cool memorabilia and cool sketches and photos, and there's going to be just tons of cool stuff to look at and awesome little secrets to find in there.
Yeah. I think this is a very gastropubby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a really fun collaboration. And Harley Jessup, who is the production designer, he designed Coco and Ratatouille and Monsters, Inc. When we started working on this, right, it's as if we need kind of like a Pixar artist who's designed restaurants like Ratatouille, Harley, and he had just come off of Coco, and he was just a fantastic partner. And he said this thing that I just love. When we came down and working with Charlie Kowalski, who you're going to see later and hear more about the lounge, but Harley said when they were making Coco, they wanted to be so authentic that anyone from Mexico, anyone from that culture who saw it would feel like, they got it right. I feel like Mexico. And he said, that's what I want the Lamplight Lounge to be for Pixar artists. That when the Pixarians come down and we walk into a space that isn't a replica of any experience that we have actually at the studio, but it should just feel so authentically right that a Pixar people are like, oh, yeah, I'm home.
Continuing down around the corner, you'll probably already, if you've walked the lane, you'll see that we have our adorable snowman snow cones. Insane hit with the guests already. The line is crazy long. If you want one, get one early. It might be your breakfast because that's the only way to get in there. But doing really well. Did a search for this the other day, and all I see is Instagram photos of the Pixar ball parfait in front of it. People are really loving that. And then we have also our billboards as you continue down around the corner towards Incredibles Park. There's so many wonderful Pixar characters, and we have so many stories we want to delve into. There were some we just couldn't dedicate an area to, so we said, how do we introduce all these other characters that are people's favorites? Up, Wall-E, Finding Dory, all these wonderful stories. So we find other ways to pepper them throughout the pier, and some of those are our billboards.
Yeah, including Coco, and that's actually a early concept art for the billboard. Yeah, we want to celebrate the whole family with Miguel for putting on performance.
So then as you turn down around that corner, our next neighborhood to bring you to is Incredibles Park.
So Incredibles is my favorite Pixar film. I love it. And I'm a California native. I was actually born in Palm Springs. So if it looks Palm Springsy, that's because, I've been there a couple of times. We went through a lot of different iterations. There's a lot of fun challenges that you kind of have to work with for an existing attraction and how to bring it into a very stylized world of Incredibles. So at the end of the day, we ended up working with Incredibles 2 production team and really kind of hand in hand up at Pixar. And the design that we kind of came up with was drawn on a napkin in the middle of lunch. It probably has some fish sauce on it. It's lovely. But that's kind of how that arose. And so we just really tried to imbue this area with some funky shapes, like you can see with the roof line there. Everything's sort of based on triangles and circles. We have a very amazing artist named Teddy Newton who is doing murals for us. So mid-century modern architecture can be a little bit drab in terms of colors. So we have 3 huge hand-painted murals that are done by this amazing artist, and they're all very, very stylized. So you can see a portion of it up here.
Teddy was one of the original designers on the first Incredibles film, was one of the artists that Brad Bird actually brought up to Pixar with him to make the film, and so it was fantastic to go back to him and have him expand that story.
And you can see his what his work looks like at the end credits of Incredibles, and now he's working on the end credits for Incredibles too. So really excited about that, and we just started painting this today. So I'm like, oh my god, they're really excited. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. It's really fun to get to tell you all about this thing that's going to be open in a month, and then as soon as we're done, we're going back to keep finishing it.
Yes,
So.
exactly. I think I have paint on me. Yeah, we have the new vehicle graphics that are coming out. You might have seen them in the Disney blog post already. You've seen the trains probably going by with the orange and red paint. Those are going to have graphics on them very soon. You might see that in the next couple of weeks.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Incredicoaster story when we all move to the other space.
So, story near and dear to all of our hearts is food, and Pixar Pier was no different from that. So, continuing in Incredibles Park, we'll tell you a little bit more about that. But Jack Jack's Cookie Num Nums will be featured there. You got to get your hands on this cookie; it's incredible.
Oh yeah, and then within the Toy Story Boardwalk, well, we have Buzz. He's in Spanish mode, so we have Senor Buzz Churros, and everything that we're bringing into our Toy Story Boardwalk neighborhood, we're trying to play up that literally Toy Story, that everything is a giant, oversized object to really give you that fun feeling of being immersed, as you are when you ride Toy Story Mania and you've shrunk down to the size of the toy.
Yeah, so this other food kiosk that we have is a giant Poultry Palace one meal box, and it's inspired by our Toy Story 2 short that's called Small Fry. And then here in front is a fun-sized Zerg that you can take your photo with.
Yeah, it's just so fun to bring those things like. And then over in the Pixar Promenade, we're celebrating Anger.
Oh yeah, so Anger is going to be selling hot dogs of different spiciness levels, so as he gets more angry, the hot dogs get more spicy.
Food and beverage team would have a lot of fun with condiments, spicy sriracha, spicy mustards, all these different layers and levels of spicy fun.
Yeah. And then right next door in Pixar Promenade, it was really a place we wanted to celebrate lots of different Pixar stories. And one of the centerpieces, of course, was the Mickey's Fun Wheels, now being rechristened the Pixar Powerhouse.
Yeah, so we actually created brand new character art for all of the gondolas, and the artist was Ron Cohee, who has done a lot of artwork for Disney merchandise and things like that. And one idea that we really wanted to do for the Pal Around was focus on the friendships in all the different Pixar films. So there are 12 pairs of friends from the different films. So you see Miguel here, and then we've got Hector on a different gondola. That's his friend. I really like how all the artwork turned out. I think it's super cute.
Well, it's been fun because Pixar Fest is really a celebration of friendship. And, we've all been just so excited to see that, we're not just celebrating the movies, we're celebrating this emotional connection that our guests have to our characters and our stories. And it's been amazing to see the response. And that same spirit kind of inspired the Pal Around. We wanted to keep that excitement and emotional connection that our guests have to the friendships within the film and the friendships that, of course, you come to the park to celebrate.
Also in Pixar Promenade, we've got a band shell moment. This is where our Pixar Philharmonic will be playing after they're done. When the pier opens, they've started now for Pixar Fest, playing in the back of the park. This will be their permanent home. Also, your Pixar friends might get a chance to have a meet and greet here with them. Then we have the Games of the Boardwalk just off the side of this image, and so we've taken those and turned those into Pixar stories too. So we're telling stories with La Luna and Wally and Heimlich's. We've got a little sample of what Heimlich's marquee is going to be for candy corn sauce up there. Really fun colors, fun characters. We wanted to pay attention to the shorts as well. People love the feature films. People really love the Pixar shorts, and they have some really great characters there. So La Luna was a great chance for us to bring those into this area.
Yeah. And then right to the right of the band shell will be the Bing Bong Sweet Stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is a candy shop that we've been working on, and we just thought that Bing Bong from Inside Out was the perfect character to have here because he cries candy tears. So, yeah.
Happy tears, right?
Yeah, always. So we'll be telling you a little bit more about the candy shop in this area, but it's a lot of fun.
And then a new centerpiece of the land, much like the giant sphere over in Tomorrowland that's amazing, the water ball people love playing with. Well, we'd like one of those. So the Pixar ball is going to be brought to life in this phenomenal marble sphere for families and kids to go ahead and interact with.
That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also bring to this area a lot more shade, a lot more seating, a lot more comfort for guests. So this is an area that's not just an area you move through. It's an area where you sit, you take a break, and you really enjoy this park-like atmosphere.
Yeah, it's really been fantastic. We're completely redoing all of the buildings, not just a paint job. We're actually changing the architecture to try and really capture that spirit of those classic boardwalks that we saw throughout California.
So I think we're going to step up and have a look at the model. So this white model was created by the team for a number of things. Sightline studies, color studies, taking a look at sizing and massing. And this kind of actually is really nice because it takes you through all the steps we go through in Imagineering in creating a model and using it as a tool. So over on this side towards the Inside Out headquarters is where we start with a basic white massing model to kind of get our shape and form language correct. As we move into the Pixar Promenade area, it's more about architectural studies and how tall facades want to be and make sure that things have the appropriate hierarchy within the land. Moving over to Toy Story Boardwalk, we start to do color studies as we start to look at what does that roof line really look like when we punch it to blue and take it away from a red or a beige. And what does that look like from across the way when we're watching World of Color? All of those things we take into account. And then as we move into Incredibles Park and the entry, these are really how we finish the model. We take a look at texture samples and pavement patterns and all these things that tie together to really tell the complete story.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun to work these things out on paper, but when you start putting a model together, it really comes to life. And one of the things we really wanted to do is we really want to transform this space for people. So the entry is really one of the most dramatically transformed. This new archway with our Pixar lamp, the fantastic new bulbs up there, and then the Lamplight lounge, really a transformed space, and the knickknacks. So we're really excited that it's really going to feel like you come to a brand new place. And then, of course, all the work that Tracy's doing leading Incredibles Park is really, it's gorgeous. I don't know if you like what that curve thing is.
Oh, the water wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. So over here you can kind of see it. It's a big kind of structure that's next to the carousel. That's a water wall, so it's going to provide some noise and some ambience and cool off the area a little bit. It makes an appearance in the Incredibles' new home, which is also what the roof structure of the new building is based off of. Part of the fun, and I call it sightline jujitsu, is when you start to build a model like this, you kind of get down with a tiny little camera from a guest perspective, and that's where we were trying to hide the original architecture of formerly Screamin' because it doesn't fit in with the mid-century vibe. So part of this is a little bit of sightline trickery and trying to figure out what that's going to look like, plus the color.
Yeah, and then as we move over into our Toy Story Boardwalk area, we had this carousel here. And so when we started throwing around, well, what could this be? And we started talking about all the great critters that we saw in Toy Story 2 in the flashback to the Woody's Roundup TV show. I said, wouldn't it be great to have a critter carousel? And of course, that would be Jesse's critter carousel. And so we're really excited. We're taking those original designs that Bud Luckey had done for Toy Story 2, and we've made some dimensional versions of all those characters. They've all been sculpted, and they're just, oh my God, so cute. So an incredible variety of critters, and can't wait to see that. But Jesse is right out front in a fantastic new dimensional sculpt that's going to welcome everybody to the experience.